Layoffs. Amazon, 14,000 jobs. UPS already this year, 48,000 jobs. Rivian, 600,000 jobs. Check slashes 45% of workforce, blames new realities of AI. Meta, layoffs. Amazon, another 30,000. Target, 1,800. Rob, I think you got some of the videos on this one. Why don't we play the UPS one, 48,000 for the year so far. When you're seeing these types of things, we talked about this briefly yesterday. To the average person, this looks like, oh my God, this is horrible. Look at all this stuff that's going on. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
Also new tonight, UPS has announced that they've cut 48,000 jobs so far this year. That announcement made on their quarterly call this morning. The company said their 2025 revenue is more than $21 billion. But that's partly because they've consolidated to create what they call a more efficient operating model. 14,000 workers were primarily on the management level. On top of that, they reduced their operational workforce by about 34,000 positions and closed daily operations at 93 sites.
Tom, this looks bad, but is it really bad? What's going on here?
No, this is natural. And what's happening natural, I'll give you 3 points on it. Point number 1, we are having a pretty good economic year. Wall Street's having a good year. And when you come to the end of the year, what do? You make budgets. Your company make budgets. You require everybody to take a look at it and to bring you their ideas, their thoughts, their creativity for next year. And what are we going to budget? What are we going to not? And a lot of companies are discovering, look, UPS is competing with Amazon, if you want to think of it that way. And every time Amazon automates a warehouse, UPS has to cover. It's like sailing. You have to cover the tack. You have to cover what your competitor's doing. So number 1, the layoffs are coming as they realize these efficiencies, and then they're going to return that profit to the shareholders. That's what's happening, point 1. Point 2, we're in a transition in America. There's more efficiency happening as AI happening. And I'd like to go, Rob, can you go to the link I gave you? We used it last week. Let's take a look now. And Bill, also want to know what you think about this. Take a look at this. What's going on here right now, these layoffs are the responsibility of the Democrats that have inhibited the progress on the president's agenda. And before you tell me, oh, you're just all pro-Trump, go look at this. Look at the trillions of dollars in investments that are happening in the United States. These are new jobs, new manufacturing that were being held up by Congress, that were being held up because people like Chuck Schumer are getting in the way of the president's agenda. The president's trying to encourage companies to build factories with new jobs, tomorrow's jobs here, so that as UPS gets more efficient and they lay off jobs for this, there's places for the American worker to go. And so I put this at the feet of the Democrats, who are, by the way, the Democrats have their own unions yelling at them, saying, oh, what happened to my job? I'm the union, supported you during the election. Where's our jobs going? And so you got the unions actually harping at the Democrats, which is a fun irony. But what's happening with these layoffs, the market likes to see cost consolidation. So the stock market goes up and companies are making layoffs in the name of efficiency and things. But the president's agenda to bring more jobs to America and $1.5 trillion of investment just since March of this year. The total number is bigger. It's like 5-6 trillion over 5 years. So I see the two-sided coin here, and I think the Dems need to get out of his way because the Trump effect is happening, and these people need new jobs as America evolves forward. And yes, AI is a part of it, but AI is not a villain.
Bill, your thoughts with all these layoffs?
I think that 2026 is going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge. I think obviously these jobs matter, but I think people are underestimating what GDP and what growth will be next year.
Brandon.
Yeah, no, this is such a normal thing. Every 100 years, like 50% of the job market gets wiped out by new disruptive technology. You know, it happened with agriculture in the 1800s. Like 90% of the workforce got wiped out. They went into skill trades. Then the Industrial Revolution happens. Then it wipes out the skill trades. Then computers come along. It wipes out the industrial factory jobs. So, you know, like every 100 years, a new disruptive technology comes out, wipes out half the job market, and then people get jobs they didn't even realize that were going to be needed in the future. So we're not even imagining the jobs that are going to be created. People are thinking it's going to have to be UBI or something, but no, I think we're going to have a whole new job market that we're not even fathoming right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, like Tom said earlier, if some of these companies, as they're coming into the fourth quarter, they're cutting the cost to show up. You know, you see, we just laid off this many people. Boom. You know, stock valuation goes up for the last quarter to have a strong finish ending to it. I don't see these stories slowing down the next couple months. I think we're going to hear a couple more of these stories, Tom, coming up. So if you think this is a big deal, I think there's more announcements.
These companies are not in trouble. These companies are actually surging.
Yesterday, we're sitting in a meeting, guys. We're preparing for the podcast. And Tom starts talking about all these companies are laying people off. And I look at the people sitting in the room. I'm like, Tom, are you threatening the people sitting in front of you? Are you threatening people? What are you telling people right now what's going on and why it's a good decision? You see Humberto panicking. He's got like sweat dropping because of all the stuff that's going on in Chile. But I think Humberto's going to be okay. I think he's going to be okay. I don't want to. Yes.
So you attribute it more to earnings than to AI, to automation?
I think it's lazy to say due to AI. Like, for example, Chuck says, slashes 45% of workforce, blames new realities of AI. As the operator, you need to just take responsibility of why you're doing this. Yes, some of it may be AI. 45% tied to AI?
Amazon has invested $10 billion, though, to an AI part.
I think there's an element of it that is AI. But Amazon is not coming out saying, we're firing people because of AI. Amazon is saying, look, here's what we're doing. And by the way, did you see the numbers of how many unions members we had? What was the number of how many union members we had 50 years ago versus today? You remember the number? It was
double
like
or triple?
No, it wasn't double. I think it was much more than double. Can you see the number of union membership in the history of U.S., what's happened to it, okay, versus today? If you actually go pull up charts on how many members we've had in the union, look at that.
Oh, wow.
Do you see the number?
Yeah, it's went from 20 to like 7 million in the last 40 years.
Okay, so check this out. We went from 22 million in 1970 to how many people not being members of unions? 14.3 million. Okay, and the numbers dropping off. So what is that? 7 million, 33% membership dropped on unions. Why is that? Why is unions taking a hit that they're taking? Because you know what some of these companies are saying? Like, imagine you're working for a company that's, being pushed to be union. And the company is saying, oh, you guys want to become union? No problem. Guess what? You're forcing me to become AI. So the antonym to union has become who?
AI. Automated, yeah.
Yeah, automated. I'm going to automate everything. And that's kind of the direction they're going. And by the way, then the argument becomes, well, I think that's going to happen no matter what. Whether you like it or not, we're going to go to that direction. Maybe you're right. Maybe you are right. Maybe we are going to be going that direction. But I think for some of the companies that are just saying AI, at least if Amazon says AI, guess what they're doing? They are putting their money into AI. And don't get me wrong. I saw, Sean O'Brien, who was the president of the Teamsters, going after Jeff Bezos and Amazon. You know who else I saw going after them?
Oh.
Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley's not a liberal pro-union guy. Josh Hawley's, one of the biggest powerhouses, and he's going after Amazon. So I don't know what's going on there with Amazon. Left, right, center, everybody's targeting Amazon. Why would you say that is, Bill? Why do you think Amazon's being targeted right now by everybody?
I don't know.
Tom, what would you say? What do you think?
Well, there's a couple angles to it, right? It's what they represent. All the unions represent the truck drivers. They're scared to death of autonomous vehicles, driving vehicles, and they want to unionize distribution centers, and they want to do that. So the unions are going to come out that way. On the other side, you've got AWS, and AWS just had an outage. And so obviously they need to be a little bit more stout if they're going to be the backbone of so much telecommunications infrastructure behind companies using AWS. We had a major outage just 2 weeks ago, right? Or less than that, where for a whole day, look how many services, and they say, oh, these apps were down. Those apps are providing critical services. Those are like banking apps. They were like PayPal.
We use AWS at Fannie and Freddie. Runs essentially $8 trillion of mortgages through
Fannie and Freddie use AWS.
They do.
Wow. Have you guys thought about moving elsewhere?
I mean, we are actively looking at other providers, not just because of what happened the other week, but just generally, yes.
So if somebody came in and offered something more efficient,
higher security, higher uptime,
as the stuff that matters for Freddie and Fannie, especially let's just say you're going through possibly the biggest IPO of all time, are you guys seriously considering 100% leaving AWS?
No.
Okay, got it.
But we would we want to diversify within reason. The problem is that when you get on these cloud networks, as you know, and you get so pregnant on them, so to speak, it's hard to move off of them.
It is very hard to move off.
And, it's a safety and soundness issue. But then a couple of weeks ago, what happened with AWS, it also makes you wonder, wow.
Where's the safety? Where's the soundness?
Yeah. So it's not going away. It's become not a stage 5 alarm fire or whatever, but it's become an issue.
Who are alternatives, by the way?
I don't think there's that many.
Oracle?
I think you got Oracle, you got
level?
a handful. Yeah, it's
They're like 37% of the cloud market.
Google Cloud. You used to have
Who
independent.
is AWS's?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's big enough to the point where Andy Jassy, who was running it, became the CEO of Amazon.
There's a good chart on
Google
it.
Cloud.
There's a good chart, Rob, if you do
The Oracle Cloud infrastructure is quite good. It's going to be running TikTok, right? Larry Ellison there. But you take a look. There's very few choices.
Well, it's not like TikTok had a chance on what cloud services they were going to use.
No, but I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah, they were already on it. But had there been a forced sale,
they were already on Oracle.
part of.
But now they're going to go full. They're going to go TikTok full.
Yeah, TikTok
with,
is going to be
Oracle.
One of the requirements is it's got to be U.S.-based servers, right? One of the requirements of TikTok, the data can't go out the back door back to PRC, and so we got to have it on U.S. servers, and there cannot be backdoors for transmitting U.S. user data back to China. So that has to happen. And so you have Oracle's cloud infrastructure, Google Cloud Platform. People don't hear a lot about it, but Google Cloud Platform, and then of course Azure. You take a look. Last year, Microsoft accelerated ahead on valuation. You saw how big they got. Part of that was Azure Cloud.
Well, they're just so critically important. I get a report every day with how much mortgage volume we do at Fannie and Freddie. We have a subsidiary that we rebranded from Common Securitization Solutions, nobody knew what the hell it was, to U.S. FinTech. It's basically a FinTech company that Fannie and Freddie own. We've put over $1 billion in at each company. So Fannie put in $1 billion, Freddie put in $1 billion. We do all of the underground piping basically for the mortgage-backed security market through this U.S. FinTech. Nearly 100% on AWS, a big part of it on AWS. So this is a problem that is not going away. And, in our case, we have to be very focused on it. We're doing anywhere from $2 to $25 billion a day of mortgages just through this pipeline.
2 to 25 billion a day. Got it. And what's the number for the year? You said 8 trillion?
We oversee $8 trillion in assets, about $4 trillion roughly. At $4 trillion roughly at Fannie, roughly $4 trillion at Freddie.
Got it.
And then the federal home loan banks I also oversee is about $1 trillion too, and we're trying to get them on the U.S. FinTech platform now too. This is not going away, and I'd be very bullish on these companies, frankly.
Yeah. So are you bullish still on AWS keeping the lead, or are you bullish on the fact that somebody could come in and disrupt and take over AWS?
No, I think they will. I think they'll stay in the lead, but I think it was a good scare. You know how you have that in business where it scares the crap out of you?
Sure.
And I think this was a relatively innocent, scare the heck out of you-know-what moment, at least from what I've observed at Fannie and Freddie.
There you go. So AWS is 30%, Azure is 20%, Google is 13%, then you got everybody else. Oracle's only 3%, IBM's 2%. So meaning all roads lead to AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud.
But they were a first mover, right?
I don't even think they intended to be that at first. I think they originally had just such a big cloud database for their inventory that it ended up being useful for what they for the cloud situation. So that might be a security problem too. Is that it wasn't originally built to be a security or a secure thing to that level.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're right, but sometimes the great thing about business is you'll start something and you don't know what it's doing, and then all of a sudden it takes off. You're like, wait a minute, we didn't even think about this was going to be this big. And then remember the history of Amazon, what they thought they were selling to the point that AWS became so big. We talked about this, I think Adam brought it up, where Andy Jassy, the guy running AWS, is not a CEO of Amazon. Why would Bezos and the board make a decision like that? Because they see that business unit driving all the other things in the future, and it has the biggest potential. But when things like this happen, you make people think about, hey, maybe we got to go elsewhere. Maybe we got to, like when a hurricane happens or a massive crisis takes place, an earthquake.
Or supply chain during COVID. You start sitting there saying, wait a minute, we've been relying on 80% on you. Maybe we got to go to 40%. No, trust me, we can manage it. That's
I don't
where
know
we're
about
at
that
right now.
I believe you. Yeah. So to me, it's kind of like looking at other options instead of, I am sure Amazon's AWS sales guys are having to all role play how to overcome the objection of, I need a second option in case this happens again. I don't know how you overcome that objection. How are you going to make the reassurance that's not going to happen? You know, you're not going to be able to do it. So now it's about incentives. Well, if you stay with us, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. So I think this is a good time to probably negotiate aggressively with Amazon with what they're going through. Not like I'm making any suggestions. I'm sure you guys are already doing that, but it may not be a bad time. 2026 is around the corner. I am convinced this is going to be a very, very special year. In my opinion, I think we got this other rate cut that's coming. I think we're going to have 3 more in 2026, give or take, based on what Goldman Sachs and a lot of other people are saying. We may even experience a new person that's running the Fed by June-ish, I think June 26th-ish, around that time, that could turn things around the second half of the year. If the China-U.S. trade deal gets done, it could be an unbelievable day for the stock market. However, all of that stuff going into 2026, what that means to you is nothing if you're not prepared for it going into 2026 with momentum. So having said that, if you don't yet have a plan to write out a great business plan for yourself, your family, your executives, your employees, watch this video, Rob, if you have. This is a video we shot of me going into a car, driving a car that goes 1.9 seconds, 0 to 60, and I also borrowed Vinny's old car to see, what was it, Rob? Was it a Prius? We're testing to see the difference between a Prius on 0 to 60 and then versus the Tesla Plaid. The owner was freaking out saying, I don't know if you can handle it or not. I said, I've been driving fast cars for a very long time, but I want you to watch this video. Rob, what speed do you have it on?
Just one.
Okay.
Regular.
Watch this video, folks. Speed matters when it comes down to business. Go ahead, Rob.
How fast you grow your business matters. Behind me, I have a 2019 Toyota Corolla, and I have a Model S Tesla Plaid. You're gonna see how fast it goes. It's absolutely insane. 1, 2, 3.
This is Vinny's car.
Still haven't hit it. Come on, Corolla. 10 seconds. Oh my gosh. Still got from A to B, but it's super slow. Any of these companies that eventually dominate their competitors, their edge isn't always just product, it's speed. This took way too long to go from 0 to 60. Here we go. Now we're in the Plaid. Let's see how this does. 0 to 60. Holy shit. Oh my God, that was amazing. So notice the difference. 0 to 60 in the Corolla, 9-10 seconds. This was less than 2 seconds.
So at this point, we know speed is critical in business. The question becomes, with 2026 around the corner, it'll be here in no time. How prepared are you going to be versus all your competitors? Once a year, I host an event called the Business Planning Workshop, where we cover the 12 building blocks on how to write a proper business plan that drives emotion and logic. If you've never attended it, do whatever you can for you, your wife, your team to tune in together. It's the only one we do that's through a webinar, which means anybody from anywhere around the world can tune into the Business Planning Workshop. It's December 12th. We start first thing in the morning. We go till very, very late. If you haven't registered yet, click on a link below to get registered. I cannot wait to see you there. All right, there you go, Rob. Let's put the link below. For some of you guys that are only listening to the audio, go to bpw.biddavidconsulting.com. Again, bpw.biddavidconsulting.com, or the link below. Get registered. We'll spend a day together on December 12th and make that the beginning of the greatest years of your life in 2026. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.